Good afternoon, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Have a good day and God bless you. Let's get into the news. And recently, the Supreme Court of the United States said to Pennsylvania, they are not allowed to count ballots that are not timestamped, they're not allowed to count them. Ballots at all. And the people in Pennsylvania politics has said basically, yeah, we're going to ignore those rulings. They don't align with what we want, and we're going to do it the way we want to do it. Pennsylvania is a crucial state right now. And hopefully, there are patriots in there that work in the sheriff's departments that will sit there and arrest these election individuals, who are going against the U.S. Constitution of the United States against the Pennsylvania Constitution of their state by ignoring these rules. However, there is more shakiness taking place in the state of Pennsylvania right now. If you're not aware, maybe you live in Pennsylvania and maybe you know more about it than I do. Let me know in the comments down below what is occurring on the ground there in Pennsylvania. I'm not there, you are. So let's go and dive into it over here. It says Pennsylvania Democrat officials mailed out to under 40,000 ballots to unverified voters. Update. Now it's at 255,000 unverified voters. That's right, Pennsylvania Democrat officials sent out 255,000 ballots to people they could not verify either by Social Security or driver's license numbers. The ballot show had never been sent out to these voters. 15 Republican state representatives have sent a letter to the acting Secretary of the Commonwealth Lee Chapman after they discovered that 255,000 illicit ballots were sent out to the state prior to the 2022 midterm elections. Deputy Secretary Johnson Marks testified in September before the Pennsylvania House that counties are responsible to verify the voter ID. When completed ballot arrived to the county, these counties argued that this was nonsense, that it must be verified before a ballot is even set out. According to the Pennsylvania law, these ballots must now be set aside. They can't be counted in the November 8 election until the voter produces identification. You can bet that very few of these counties will set these ballots aside. This is how Democrats get around the law. Attached is the letter signed by 15 Pennsylvania House members calling out the chaos. But this needs to stop. The only way this stops is if the sheriffs in these areas go in and arrest these individuals. That's how you stop it. You have to jail them. You have to put these lawless oathbreakers behind bars. That's the only way you're going to do it. They're going to continue to flout the law because they don't care about it. They only care about the law when they're able to utilize it against our political opponents. And Pennsylvania has become very corrupt within its own election officials. Again, many other states are probably facing similar things that are going on, but the remedy is using the sheriffs of these conservative counties and arresting these individuals. They need to face justice. And then, some significant news. I smell something in the air. It smells like salt, smells like the ocean. Well, it's probably because there's a massive red tidal wave about to crash the shore. We are slowly seeing every little ounce of confidence dissipating, dispersing of the Democrat collective body, a total utter collapse of Democrat enthusiasm and Democrat confidence. And you know what? With good reason. All of the races that they thought were in the bag, safe Democrat, lean Democrat, one by one have shifted all in the same direction towards Republicans. If you guys have been paying attention to the Cook Political Report, or all the RCP projections, so many races have been shifting over the last couple of months. And unanimously, every single one of those races has shifted towards the Republican side. And it's gotten to a point where that massive tidal wave is forming. I've been seeing all of the predictions all over the place, all over Twitter. Democrats have been saying it, and even some doom and gloom conservatives have been mirroring the same sentiment, that Republicans are poised to take over the House but likely won't win the Senate. Well, folks, I don't think that's the case at all. In fact, something historic might be brewing, and that's not coming from me, that's coming from the New York Times from Election Analysis. Nate Cohn, who's warning the Democrats of their potential nightmare scenario, Republicans winning the greatest majority since the Great Depression. Let's talk about this monumental political shift, this seismic political shift. Alright, folks. So trust me when I tell you that the panic is setting in. We have this piece from the Cook Political Report from Jessica Taylor, who's a contributor. There is an increasing likelihood that Republicans may not lose a single incumbent senator or governor. These 4 Democrats are in toss-up races. Cook Political Report posted this, and it still shocks me that these races are close. They're not close, especially not Wisconsin and Nevada. And even John Fetterman knows it. John Fetterman's campaign tweeted the other day, "This is not good." Cook Political Report downgraded our race from lean Democrat to toss-up. I need your support. Now more than ever, can you rush $15 to my campaign today? RCEP House rating changes. 5 races shift towards Republicans since the 1st of October. RCP have changed ratings on 22 House seats. All changes were towards Republicans from this week's Cook Political Report. Many Democrats who are in toss-up races and lean Republican races need your donations. Now just take a look at the list here, folks. It basically tells you all that you need to know. There are double the amount of Democrat districts in toss-up territory than Republican. A lot of those Republican toss-up races are going to head towards the Republican side, and it's likely that a good chunk of those Democrat toss-up seats also move rightward. Not to mention, look how much blue there is in these districts that are leaning Republican, and likely Republican, with only 2 Republican districts supposedly leaning. This tells you all that you need to know. Republican candidates are making gains everywhere, and the most important races that Democrats have been so confident over are starting to slowly slip away. John Fetterman's own campaign said this is not good, and with good reason. Take a look at this new poll showing Mehmet Oz holding a 5-point lead over John Fetterman in the Pennsylvania Senate race, with leaners Mehmet Oz at 51%. John Fetterman at 46%. Not exactly surprising, as John Fetterman. His track record continues to get exposed. And on Fetterman going on the record claiming that repeat violent felons being released back onto the streets only to commit crimes again and victimize innocent civilians is just an unfortunate circumstance. Sense of criminal justice reform. Absolute nutcase. In the race of the Democrats were probably the most confident over the Senate battle in Arizona. Well, now even Politico is reporting the GOP leaps back into contention in Arizona Senate race. Lake Masters is running just a handful of points behind Democrat Senator Mark Kelly in recent polling, and that's caused quite the shake-up, causing Democrat panic as Real Clear Politics in their RCP projection for Battle of the Senate just shifted that race to lean Republican. They're now projecting 53 Republican seats as Arizona Senate race now moves into the Republican column. The most recent poll from the Daily Wire/Trafalgar has Mark Kelly up by only 1 percentage point. Cue the Copine. Let the Copine begin. It seems as though Republicans are possibly on track here to pull off a stunning victory. It went from Republicans are likely to win a small majority in the House and possibly just maintain that 5,050 split, or even lose a seat in the Senate, to Republicans are on track to absolutely dominate the House and win a possible 52 to 53 seat majority in the Senate. And now even New York Times election analyst Nate Cohn is sounding the alarm. We've got this piece right over here from the New York Times. If these poll results keep up, expect anything on election night. The current range of numbers could translate to a Democratic hold in the Senate, or an overall Republican rout. Here's where the panic sets in for Democrats. Consider, for instance, that a 3-point Republican lead on the generic ballot is 7 percentage points better for Republicans than Mr. Biden's national 4-point victory in 2020. If every district finished that far to the right of the presidential election results, Republicans would come away with 259 districts and almost 50-seat gain, and the largest Republican majority since the Great Depression. Was this the most likely scenario? Probably not. But I'll tell you what, I think we're a whole lot closer to that scenario than we are. It's the leftist copian narrative. That Cook Political Report chart that I showed you guys earlier is the visual representation of that. Those 20 Democrat toss-up seats have a decent chance of moving rightward. And if we take a look at the Real Clear Politics battle for the House 2022 page, there's already 225 relatively safe Republican seats with 35 in toss-up. And take a look in the toss-up range here, folks. It's all blue as far as the eye can see. Even in the leans GOP portion, it's almost all blue. If Republicans manage to win 25 of those 35 seats, that's a 250 Republican seat victory. It's likely, it's not necessarily impossible. It's likely that we see Republicans take anywhere from 240 seats to 250, maybe even 260. That is a monumental shift in the current House of Representatives. Democrats hold 222 seats, Republicans 212. This means the GOP is currently on track to win anywhere from 30 to 40 seats, and that's a pretty conservative estimate. No amount of Nancy Pelosi Joe Biden cope, no amount of Democrat voter cope is going to change the current reality, but the American voter base is moving away from Democratic candidates at record pace in every single key voter demographic. People are sick of it. And most importantly, they're sick of this administration. It's looking like it's going to be a referendum on Joe Biden's presidency. What this election represents is stopping the bleeding. The country is bleeding so much under Joe Biden's presidency that what American voters are looking at is The best case scenario is to stop the bleeding, to just elect Republicans to stand in the way of Joe Biden's agenda, effectively rendering his last 2 years as president lame duck status. Thank you very much. WWG1WGA. Give me your thoughts below and hit subscribe.